If you are trying to conceive, you are likely tracking a lot. Your menstrual cycles, basal body temperatures, ovulation predictor kits. But what if I told you that your body gives you one of the most reliable signs of ovulation absolutely free? Today, we are breaking down cervical mucus. This is something that can absolutely tell you what is going on with ovulation in your body. And yes, it is totally normal to track it. I'm Dr. Lora, Shahine, a double board certified OBGYN and reproductive endocrinologist, helping people build families for over 20 years. If this is the first time finding my channel, welcome. I am so glad you're here. And if you are coming back because you found one of the videos valuable, welcome back. I am so happy that you are finding this helpful information. There are two other ways to stay connected and learn from me. Number one is my weekly newsletter. There's a link in the description below. And number two is my weekly Brave and Curious podcast. You can listen to anywhere you listen to podcasts, and you can watch video interviews here on my YouTube channel. But today we're talking all about cervical mucus, one of the most reliable and easiest things to track when you're trying to figure out exactly when you're fertile and help you understand when to ovulate, which is so important when you are trying to conceive. My patients are surprised when I tell them just how important cervical mucus is. It changes in pH, consistency, amount of production throughout the cycle, and it is so important for helping the sperm get to where it needs to be to meet with the egg, to help with fertilization, and to help with conception. It's not just fluid, it is a whole biological system. Today, I'm going to teach you all about the different types of cervical mucus that you should expect at different times in your cycle. You're going to understand so much more about your cycle and how it works and the importance of cervical mucus. Let's get started. Now, we got to do a quick review of the menstrual cycle so that you understand exactly what we're going over today. Now, I do have great videos here on YouTube that go into depth about the menstrual cycle and what's a normal menstrual cycle and not, and when to ask questions. But let's do a quick review. The menstrual cycle has two distinct phases, before and after ovulation. In the first phase, that's the follicular phase, the beginning of the menstrual cycle, the ovary is recruiting and maturing an egg that it's getting ready to ovulate. The ovary is making estrogen. That's the dominant hormone in that phase of the cycle. Estrogen is at its peak or its highest right in the middle of the menstrual cycle, right when the egg ovulates or comes out of the ovary to get into the fallopian tube to hopefully meet the sperm. After ovulation, the ovary starts making progesterone, and in the second half of the menstrual cycle, that's the luteal phase, the dominant hormone is progesterone. Now, cervical mucus responds to estrogen levels and progesterone levels, and you can tell from your cervical mucus with really pretty good accuracy where you are on the cycle based on its consistency. Now, there are 4 different types of cervical mucus, and I'm going to go through each one in relation to the menstrual cycle and which phase. A really important thing to understand that as estrogen levels get higher, the estrogen level changes the consistency and production of cervical fluid. So the higher the estrogen, the thinner and more productive the cervical mucus is going to be. So that'll be helpful to remember as we go through each stage. The beginning of the menstrual cycle, the early follicular phase, estrogen levels are low, and there's not very much cervical mucus, or if you have some, it could be very kind of sticky and sort of thick. As estrogen levels start to rise later in the follicular phase, the cervical mucus starts to become a little bit more productive. It's still whitish, but it's more creamy. It's not as sticky. It kind of looks like maybe a lotion. The third type of cervical mucus is wet or clear, and this is in the later part of the follicular phase, really close to ovulation. Estrogen levels are getting higher and higher, and there's more cervical mucus. It's clear, and it's a little bit wet in consistency. Now, the fourth type of cervical mucus is the one that a lot of people get excited about. We call it egg white cervical mucus because it has the consistency and production and feel and stretchiness of egg whites. So again, it's clear, it's productive. If you have it between your fingers and you kind of stretch it out. It really kind of stretches for a few centimeters. And that is your most fertile time. This is the peak of estrogen levels. This is around the time or very close to ovulation. This is your most fertile time and your most fertile cervical mucus. After ovulation and estrogen levels drop and the progesterone becomes the dominant hormone in the luteal phase, cervical production really slows down. There's not very much cervical mucus. It's not that stretchy stuff. And as you're getting closer and closer to menstruation, it's going to be even less cervical mucus. So if you're tracking your cycle, if you're using an app, sometimes apps can be wrong. If you're using ovulation predictor kits, sometimes they can be really helpful because they are telling you when this hormone called LH is surging from your pituitary gland to tell your ovaries to ovulate, but sometimes they don't work. And even basal body temperature tracking, that's another wonderful way to track your cycles, but you don't see that rise in your basal body temperature until after ovulation because it's the increased level of progesterone that makes the body temperature go up by about a degree. So cervical mucus is something that is available to evaluate and kind of see anytime in the cycle, and you can watch it get progressively less white, more clear, and more stretchy. And as you learn your body, you will know, wow, this is really estrogenized cervical mucus. I'm in the middle of my cycle. It's really stretchy. I must be in my peak fertility. It can be so helpful. So remember, healthy, fertile cervical mucus can be described in this way: clear in color, stretchy and elastic in consistency, slippery and feels like a lubricant, not smelly and not clumpy. So those are the ways to describe fertile cervical mucus. You might have heard people talk about the stretch test when it comes to cervical mucus. That's when it is really fertile and clear and in that sort of slimy kind of egg white. If it stretches more than a couple of centimeters, that also means it's well estrogenized. So that stretch test can be a clue into fertility based on your cervical mucus. If you want to learn a lot more about tracking your ovulation, your cycles, signs of ovulation and fertility, a wonderful resource is the book Taking Charge of Your Fertility by Toni Weschler. She is an incredible resource. She wrote this over 30 years ago, and it has been shared worldwide to help women understand their own bodies. I'm very fortunate to call Toni a friend. She lives here in Seattle, where I live too. I've been fortunate to have her on the Brave and Curious podcast. Have a listen to that episode. You will learn so much about this incredible woman and how she's changed so many people's lives. So you might be curious what could impact cervical mucus. So if you've been checking for a cycle or two and you're not seeing changes and you're not finding the estrogenized, stretchy cervical mucus, what could be those reasons? And I've got some for you to think about. Number one, hormonal birth control. So if you're taking birth control pills or the NuvaRing, the dominant hormone in birth control pills is progesterone. And that's actually going to make cervical mucus thick and actually be a barrier for sperm getting through the cervix on its way to the egg. Birth control pill is a contraceptive or prevents pregnancy in many different ways, and thickening the cervical mucus is one of them. Number two, low estrogen levels or anovulation. If you are not ovulating on a regular basis, if your ovaries are not making enough estrogen, you are not going to get fertile cervical mucus. Number three, age. Honestly, as we get into perimenopause and even closer to menopause, as we age, we often make lower and lower levels of estrogen, even if we're still ovulating. And we can see that in changes in our cervical mucus. Dehydration. So being really dehydrated can actually decrease the production of cervical mucus. So make sure you stay hydrated. Number five, medications. There are some medications that can change cervical mucus. For example, some over-the-counter antihistamines can sometimes really dry up secretions and decrease the production of fertile cervical mucus. You can still be ovulating. You could even still conceive, but some antihistamines can change what you'll see as far as signs in your cervical mucus. Number six, infections. There are some infections like BV or bacterial vaginosis and some yeast infections that can actually decrease the production, change the consistency, can be confusing when you're trying to figure out cervical mucus signs. So if you're having signs of an infection, you're feeling uncomfortable, you're having itchiness, redness, you're feeling like there might be a yeast infection or bacterial vaginosis, get a checkup. Just last week, a patient asked me about cervical mucus because she's been trying to track it, and she feels like she is just not ever getting the fertile, slippery, stretchy cervical mucus. And she asked me if fertility lubricants can help. And sometimes they can. If you're not having a lot of cervical mucus or secretions in general, sometimes intercourse can actually be very uncomfortable, and using lubricants can be helpful. But you have to be very careful which lubricants you use, because there are some lubricants that actually are harmful for sperm production and function and can decrease your chances of getting pregnant. So be very careful. I have a whole YouTube video here on fertility lubricants. When you're looking for them, like a lot of people will talk about Pre-Seed. That is a fertility lubricant. I have no association with them, but they have actually done studies that show that sperm do very, very well. They are not harmed by Pre-Seed. And they even have some small studies where they say, oh, your fertility is improved if you use Pre-Seed. One warning is the last time that I checked, Pre-Seed uses parabens as a stabilizer or as a preservative, and parabens are not so good for our reproductive health. So just be careful when you're choosing lubricants that you're checking ingredients. And again, this is something that could have changed, but I want you to be aware. So I want to leave you with some warning signs that if you are concerned about cervical mucus, when should you talk to your doctor or provider? Number one, if you never see fertile cervical mucus, you might not be ovulating, and that is an important thing to ask your doctor. Maybe your cervical mucus is foul smelling, it's got a discoloration, a little yellow, a little green, it feels clumpy like a yeast infection. If you're having symptoms, that is the time to see a doctor. If your cycles are irregular and you are not able to track your cycles with cervical mucus or with a calendar, ovulation predictor kits aren't working, this is the time to see a doctor to figure out, are you even ovulating? And if not, what treatments are available to you to help you ovulate on a regular basis, to help you conceive and become the parent that you're working so hard towards. So let's recap. Cervical mucus is an incredible way to track ovulation. It is free, and it's something that you can see within your own body. We've learned about the 4 different types of cervical mucus. We've learned that its response to hormones and especially estrogen is what changes cervical mucus, and the type of fertile cervical mucus, which is clear, stretchy, and productive around the time of ovulation when the estrogen levels are the highest. That is what you are looking for. I hope you found this information educational and valuable. Like this video, comment with questions that you have, subscribe to this channel so you get my weekly videos all about reproductive health. And until next week, stay brave and curious.